not a game, not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that? And we're talking about practice.
Best believe that I'm top 3. The only thing is I'm not 2 and I'm not 3. Put me anywhere of and they wonder it's not me. It's beef, we strut a nigga block, that's chopped cheese. No peace, the butterfly sting him, that's Ali. You reek, I teach him with the handle, that's Kyrie. Machines you hook like a Roman, that's IV. You a sheep, I'ma go, it's a difference, so watch me. You weak, all hooks, no punches, so block these. They mock me, I just show them how it goes. Try to stomach this thug life. They ring got the nose, bandana on the grip. All heads coming out the foe. Connected from Cali to New York, nigga, so let it go. Made for this, nigga, I eat bars and drink flows. Thinking you woke into your third eye, peephole. Line for line, this shit too easy, it's like a free throw. Mastered the game too early, this bitch a cheat code. It ain't a game, these niggas lame, state bring a shame. If I'm with an officer, it's a number in his name. We ain't the same, you want the easy pass, tell him change his lane. Shit, I've been through the fire, you can't stand the rain, take an aim. Tell him runner, he can try his best. Drive a car named after me, that's why I'm in the vet. Laugh at these niggas once again, and I ain't break a sweat. Number 1 at everything I do, that's why I'm one West. The Lord is not the God of the dead, so when I die, coming back for my spot, so forever I'm top 3. Just tell him to watch this, janitor with the mop stick. You gon' need a defensive lineman to block this. On point when I bomb shit, 10 for 10 I do not miss. I'm barking with a full bulldog, it is not mixed. They can see that my mind's sick, I don't write, I find shit. I don't like it, then I'll switch. If I touch it, it's diamond. Tell a bitch that I'm God sent. It ain't because my kicks is built like 5'6", 5'7", is my bitch. Dangerous, high risk, I lose it, get another one. You think I'm talking about a girl, I'm talking about another gun. We here now, hey look, it is what it is now. We don't fuck with the house niggas, we burn the crib now. I'm ahead now, and I hope they can hear now. I don't care if you think it's it, nigga, I don't fear clowns. Silences make it sound like raindrop, that's a quiet storm. Get the job done in the view or get fired on. If you niggas standing for nothing, what you dying for? If you put real with real, that's how I was born. Walk in this bitch ready for war, I'm in riot form. I want these niggas to see me flex, that's why I am armed. I shouldn't live in the crib, nigga, I should buy a farm to go through this shit so effortless. Best believe that I'm top 3. Only thing is I'm not 2 and I'm not 3. Best believe that I'm top 3. Only thing is I'm not 2 and I'm not 3. Best believe that I'm top 3. Only thing is I'm not 2 and I'm not 3.
Right at it.
Hear the hunger in my voice, they used to tell me to speak up. The problem wasn't what I was saying, they couldn't keep up. Instead of moving around with some patience, they tried to speed up. It got colder than a bitter bitch, found me a way to heat up. What's a favor for a favor if we all didn't make it? Kept it 100 with everybody, but they just gon' change. I ain't get caught up in the hype, cause I ain't feel like I made it. Couldn't picture me here now, but here's your moment to frame it. And I ain't never understand that self-entitlement spirit. I felt your vibe, I don't wanna get near it. Before I made the appearance, I took a second, took a look in the mirror. This God, Lord, the only thing that I fear. Y'all got me fucked up. It's all passion, it's tradition, it ain't fashion. It's no action, they make threats and it's still passing. I think massive, no respond, that's still tact. Y'all should quit rapping. Cheap shots, I'm cinematic. I ain't average, I'm an overthrow fanatic. How I go, you lose and win like asthmatic. I got first, that's automatic. I'm the best in my division. In the ghetto like the pigeons, in the hood like the engine. You a bird for that chicken. I don't fake split decisions cause my mind made up, nigga. We in the end of time, but my time ain't up. Now when I was young and running wild and wide-eyed like a cabbage patch, I had to get it as vivid, adapted to my habitat. It's certain shit I won't do, certain shit you can't prove. My shit sound like a payday, yours like more when the rent. If I had $1 for every dime you counted, I would be broke. Watch it be close, got a better chance, boxing the ghost. And they know I'm raw, and they know the squad, and I'm feeling lost, still in charge. I don't make it follow, I follow the law. Standing tall like they hear on Mars. I just got a call from my bro, he behind the wall, he told me let it off. Niggas lying for some cat, I got a different line in me. Everybody intimidated, I got that God in me. You getting focused on them dimes, I'd rather keep my nine with me. Help me get this off the ground, just know you won't fly with me now.
I try to make the news, I ain't playing by the rules. I've been trying to play it cool, but that ain't gon' be the building. Y'all out here looking like fool. Home yeah. Truth, I ain't never had to choose.
I'm trying to get beamed up, man, y'all trying to make the news. I ain't playing by the rules. I've been trying to play it cool, but that ain't gon' pay the bill. Y'all out here looking like fool. Home home of the truth. Y'all ain't never had to choose. Tryna get green up. Then y'all tryna make the news. Y'all ain't playing by the rules. I've been trying to play it cool, but that ain't gon' pay the bill. Y'all out here looking like food. Home of the truth. Y'all ain't never had to choose. Tryna get green up.
I know exactly what they want. I know exactly what they want. Exactly what they want. I know exactly what they want. Exactly what they want. Just be patient. My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me, y'all keep the fame. I want the glory, been that nigga, bitches never ignored me. Rich in spirit, little bitch can't afford me. Day one static, fix it with a 4G, red beam.
Shalom, Israel. YAHANNA to all the brothers. Hachaanakah to all the sisters. I'm Prison Officer 1000 Adia with the I.S.U.P.K, which is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. So that 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And joining with me, you have Officer 500 Barakala. You understand? And today, what are we doing today? Today, we're celebrating, you understand, the feast of, we're commemorating, you understand, Hachaanakah, or what the Jewish men called Hanukkah, or Hanukkah, Salaki. You understand? And then we're gonna go into it, why we do this. You understand? Just like you have the Passover. You have the Passover, which is a commemoration, and also a high holy day, where we commemorate the unaliving of the Egyptians. Well, this feast, there's something that happened in history. This is part of our history that even the Jewish men celebrate today in a type of way, but that has nothing to do with the Jewish man. But let's go see what was happening. Let's go to the first book of Maccabees, chapter 1. And this is in the Apocrypha. This is in the Apocrypha. You could get it. This part of the King James 1611 Bible, man. I know a lot of you Christians don't have this book in your Bible, but it's necessary to have this book for history purposes and also for revelation purposes as well. Just a second. Okay, this is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. Mm-hmm. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetin, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. You understand? This is talking about Alexander the Great, which a lot of people know about history. Some of you even say, I heard some Israelite, not Israel, well, Israelite that don't know they're Israelite, say Alexander the Great didn't exist. Understand? Alexander was a man that existed, and he was taking over empire, just like all these Edomite nations are doing. And who could guess which nation Alexander was from, or which tribe of nation he was from? Do you know it? Do you know? Oh, okay. He was a Greek out of one. He was a Greek. You understand? And when you get into the research, it was close to be Amalek. You understand? And it happened after the Alexander son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetin, had smitten Darius, king of the Persian and the Medes. You could find Darius in history as well. A lot of people say, well, the people in the Bible are myth. You understand? It is they didn't exist. Well, Darius existed, Alexander existed, the Persian existed. The Persian who are who today? Iranian. You understand? And so-called all this size. You understand? A lot of Elamites or a lot of people living in the land of Elam also are Persians as well. And the Medes that Iran in instead, that would mean instead of, you understand? Instead of Darius, now you had Alexander the Great. The first over Greece, where Let's get to the next verse. Hachaanakah. First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Understand? He was there conquering everything, just like pillaging everything. He went in this land and just unaliving everybody. Just like you see a good example that you see the Jewish men, the Amalekites, doing to the Palestinians. That's the same thing that he was doing as well. You understand? Alexander was doing exactly the same thing. And there's a bunch of movies, you understand, that you could see where they depict that. They show you that he was going to land from land, taking over, unaliving everybody, disrespecting everybody's territory, and just taking over their land. Go ahead. Hachaanakah. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 3. And went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Which means what? The earth was quiet before him. Mean what? That means they were scared. Nobody used to, you understand? Nobody would have dared challenge him. Nobody would have dared challenge Alexander the Great. There's a good thing that I've seen also that is similar that I've seen in our time. You know, when Trump was president, nobody used to challenge Trump. Right. You know what I'm saying? It is the same thing. Even that the North Korean, you know what I'm saying, North Korea leader, Kim Jong-un, used to talk a lot of smack on TikTok with not TikTok, on Twitter with him. You know what I'm saying? He used to call him Rocket Man. And he went over there. He was the first president that crossed the barrier, the frontier from South Korea to North Korea. Nobody challenged Trump. It's the same thing that was happening as well. Go ahead. Hachaanakah. Whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. His heart was lifted up, which meant he wasn't humble no more. You understand? He said it was swollen now. He has too much power. He had too much power now. He thinks he's God. He thinks he's the man. He thinks, you understand, he could rule the entire earth. Go ahead. Hachaanakah. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations. When they say he gathered a mighty strong host, that means he had an amazing army. Imagine 2 million soldiers behind you. Imagine this: 3 million soldiers behind you. That's the amazing host. And rule over countries and nations. This is why Alexander, you know, the world call him Alexander the Great. We call him just Alexander, you know, the Edomite. Alexander the Edomite. But the world call him Alexander the Great. So you understand what we're talking about. But this is what happened during those times. And this is history, right? The Bible recorded it in First Maccabees. This is in this book. You know what I'm saying? In the Apocrypha. Real history is in the Bible. Meanwhile, it is not in your dead, you know what I'm saying? Not what you call the book of the dead. You know what I'm saying? It is not in that. It is not in the Quran. Real history is not in the Quran. It is in the Bible. And none of these other books, the religious book from these other nations, have the history that is in the Bible, which is the real history of the earth. Go ahead. Hachaanakah. And kings who became tributaries unto him, which meant kings was paying him tribute, giving him money. You know what I'm saying? Giving him tithes in other sense of the word. You know what I'm saying? Or giving him taxes. He was taxing everybody. Didn't Trump do the same thing? Trump was, you know what I'm saying? Trump was going around, make Canada pay tax. Saying, well, Canada, I have a video where Trump said, well, Canada wasn't paying enough taxes. Matter of fact, they made a mistake in the numbers that they were supposed to pay, and nobody fixed the mistake. I did it. The same thing. You understand? Go ahead. Hachaanakah, verse 5. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Well, you know what? He fell sick. He wasn't a god. He wasn't the God that he thought he was. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't untouchable. I'm saying God sent that angel and made him sick. And he realized, well, you know what? I'm going to die. Go ahead. Verse 6, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him for his youth, from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. You understand? So what did Alexander do? He divided his kingdom. He divided his kingdom into several sections. So everybody that was brought up, you understand, with him from his youth, from young, you understand, all of his servants that was there with him, he divided the kingdom within them and say, well, you know what? You have that part. You control this. You control, you understand, you control Asia. You control India. You control the Middle East. You control the other part of the, you understand, the earth. You control Saudi Arabia. That's what, you understand, that's what it's talking about. You understand? Let's jump to verse 7. Let me read it right quick. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then he died. Verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evil were multiplied in the earth. So after the death of Alexander, you had a bunch of other kings that came up, and everything they were doing was evil, was disgusting and evil. Don't let me talk to you about the Greeks. Don't let me talk to you about the Romans. You could go in the foundation of the Greeks, the Romans, where you had pedophilia as a custom, and so on and so on. You could find where they had bestiality as a custom. All that was going on the earth, just like we're seeing today. Today you have LGBTQ, the Rainbow Coalition, right? And his verse 8, and his servants bear rule, everyone in his place. Verse 9, verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, so named Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. You understand? So now you have an evil king that came up. An evil king that came up, and he wants to rule the world as well. Let's jump to chapter 2, verse 1. And in those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jorib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Jonan called Cadiz, Simon called Tassis, Judas, who was called Maccabus, Eleazar called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Appius. These men were black men, just like you are. These men were your forefathers, man. These men were Israelites. Don't let the Jewish men take this book and make you think that these people were his people. These were your forefather, man. Not the Jewish man forefather. Your forefather. And this is what was going on. Because when you understand, when Antiochus came up, and you could look this up, you could look Antiochus in Jerusalem, you can look this up everywhere on Google, on any type of encyclopedia that talks about history. You could find this out. Where Antiochus had the Jews in slavery as well. Came up and to destroy the Jews as well. All right. Let's jump to chapter 3, verse 1. Matter of fact, let's go back to chapter 2. Let's take verse 6. Chapter 2, verse 6. You got it, please?
Okay, First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 6.
Come. Okay, 1 second.
Now let's not forget. I could give you more in First Maccabee chapter 1, where after Antiochus, right, where it tells you that Antiochus left Egypt, conquered Egypt and whatnot, and went, was going into Israel, the land of Israel, where the Jews, the black people were at. You could have that, from First Maccabee chapter 1, verse from verse 16 to the end of and you could see what was going on. For sake of time, we're not going into all of that, but you could read it. If you don't have an apocrypha and you are in Montreal or Toronto, you don't have an apocrypha, let us know. Like this, we could have, apocryphas for you as well. All right.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem.
Now, when matter of fact, when Matthias saw the blasphemies that was done in Jerusalem, you understand what blasphemy was? What is the meaning of the word blasphemy?
Disrespect to the Most High.
A disrespect. You understand? A disrespect to the Most High. Disrespect to our culture. Disrespect to you, Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. The Jewish man calling himself a Jew is a blasphemy. This is why you're studying Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. It says, I hear the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews, but are not. It is a wicked lie. It is a disgusting lie. And one of the blasphemy that they were doing, right? Matter of fact, let's go back to First Maccabees chapter 1. Let's start at verse 39. Just to give you an example of what was going on during the time of Antiochus and what were the Greek doing in Israel.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 39. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning.
Her feast, just like the Passover that we're going to celebrate the next year, April next year, were turned into what?
Her feasts were turned into mourning.
And this is what happened also with the Christian church, instead of making us celebrate, telling us to celebrate this Hachaanakah, they tell you to celebrate what? Christmas. Our feasts are laid in what? Or turned into mourning. So like our feasts are laid into mourning, man. It is something sad. It is a sad thing that we lost our identity. We lost our culture. And they make us celebrate something else instead, man. Something demonic instead. Go ahead.
Her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt.
You understand? Like it is something evil and disgusting. And it is a blasphemy to tell us not to follow the Sabbath, but to go to church and observe Sunday. To go to church on Sunday. This is the new Sabbath. It is something where it is a blasphemy act when we can take off for our high holidays. We can take take the days off work. Meanwhile, the Jewish men, the Amalekites, could take any type of day that they want. It is a blasphemy, man. And this is what chapter 2 is talking about. Keep on going, so like on the next verse.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 40. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased.
Well, you know what? Dishonor increased in our time. When you see our sisters shaking their behind on Instagram, being butt naked on Instagram, when you see our people high on drug everywhere, in every corner, smoking cigarette, when you see a woman that has a family destroying her own family, when you see young men and men, instead of taking care of their own household, they turn into whores and prostitutes. It is something that dishonor. It is a dishonor to our nation, man, to our race. And it is increasing. When you see the LGBT in our community, meanwhile, what is the song, the Benjamin song about the LGBT?
So I'm not even sure if you can do that out of one.
Just the boom bye bye. I just wanted you to give me the boom bye bye. Understand? Boom, bye bye. Y'all can look this up. We're not even gonna tell you who song it. You know what I'm saying? What song it is or what not. Boom, bye bye. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I mean, we could tell the artist, but I don't.
No. Just you know what I'm saying. Like YouTube might close us. You know what I'm saying? Shut down this class for that. But when you see this exactly, it is the same thing. This honor is increasing, man. When you see the molestation that's going on in the community, this honor is increasing, man. And thank God for Commanding General YAHANNA, man. Because you have men like Officer Barakala, Officer Shaiwan, Officer Zabaja, myself, Officer Aban, Officer Natazab, the captain, the general, the officers, the troopers, man, that's standing against that dishonor, man, and putting something better to our people, man, telling you, you are great, man. Trump said, make America great again. You've been great, man. You are the greatest thing on the face of the earth, man.
Damn right.
You understand? Dishonor increased, though. Why? Because we don't follow our culture. We don't follow our book. We don't follow what we're supposed to follow, man. Keep on going.
Kawakan. And her excellency
And what?
was turned. Her excellency.
Woo! I love this word, man. Excellence. Understand? Something that is supposed to be praised and all high and mighty. Understand what?
And her excellency was turned into mourning.
Mourning means something sad. When you look at the state of Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian today, it is something where you do it like this. Damn. These are the nation, man, would have done like this. Damn, I can't believe my people. But us, we look at it like it's nothing. We've been used to it. You understand? We've been grown in it. No. Judah, you understand? Mattathias seen it, seen what was going on, and said, hell nah. The UPK seen it, Commander General YAHANNA seen it, and said, hell nah. We're not going to do that. We're not going to move like that. We're going to do something different. Keep on going.
Karawakan. Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Which means he wanted to do the same thing with Nimrod, right? This is where you get the multiculturalism as well. We all one. This is where you get the church, the Christian church, saying, well, we all the same thing. We all one. We all human. And that the same thing? This is the same thing, Christians. It's the same thing as Nimrod was doing, bringing everybody together. You understand? Black, white, Chinese, yellow, purple, green. You understand? Together. It sounds good, but is it what the Lord wants? Is it what God wants? Keep on going.
Karawakan. Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So let me explain this to you, all right? If I'm the man leading, I have my own house rule, right? I'm leading. Now I'm leading the earth. Everybody have their own set of rules, right? What happened? What happened is that I'm gonna make everybody follow my rules. Even though you have your rules in your house, I'm gonna tell you now, you follow my rules now. Which is not according to the Bible, which is not according to the Most High, which is exactly what God intended for the Israelite to do. Everybody should follow the Israelite. Now you have Antiochus that's coming, an Edomite, that's telling everybody, well, you know what? You don't follow your gods no more. You don't follow your culture no more. You follow my culture. You follow what I say. And everybody says what? All the heathens.
So like the other one. Says, so all the heathens agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So every other nation, when it's talking about the heathens in this verse, it's talking about every pagan nation or every other nation that are not Israelites. They agreed and they say, yes, Lord. Yes, my king. We're gonna follow you. We're gonna follow what you say. Now we're not gonna do voodoo no more. Now we're not gonna follow Egypt no more. Now we're not gonna follow Kemet no more. Now we're not gonna be Buddhist no more. We're not gonna be Muslim no more. We're gonna follow what you say. Keep on going.
Karawakan. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
Ooh. Why have the Edens agreed? Now it's telling Israelite consented to this. Why? Because black, so-called black Hispanics and Native Indian, we had strength inside of our heart. We never feared those heathens, man. This is what the heart that God gave you, not to fear the heathens, but to follow what you're supposed to follow. But the thing is, a lot of us are bred to be weak. A lot of us are molded to be weak. So a lot of Israelites consented, just like you consent to be a whore, just like you consent to smoke, you understand, to get high on drugs, and I was one of them as well. Just like you consent, you understand, to have sex with prostitutes. Just like you consent to have sex with the other nation. Just like you consent to do anything, eat pork. You consent to eat pork, and God tell you, well, don't eat pork. Science tells you that eating pork is wrong. You understand? Science tells you eating pork is wrong. Smoking cigarette is wrong. They put it on the cartoon. You understand? They labeled it on the cigarette cartoon, right?
Okay.
Showing, you understand, they give you cancer. It give you understand, cancer in your lung cancer. Well, you know what? You consent to smoke that cigarette, even though you know it's wrong. Well, that's what happened with the Israelites during those times. Certain Israelites, they consented to his religion, to understand, Antiochus religion. Antiochus was philosophy and way of life. Keep on going.
And sacrificed unto idols.
You understand?
And
so like let me just jet in with this. Sacrifice unto idols. We went to Oratoire Saint Joseph, one of the biggest churches in the world, right?
Okay.
Did you see a place where you could burn incense for statues?
So like I don't remember. I don't
understand. You could look at this up. There's a place. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put out the picture. Matter of fact, we should go into that place again so we could take pictures and videos and whatnot one of these days. You understand? We have Officer Biden, Officer Shawan as well coming. You understand? I don't know. Officer Shawan wasn't with us that day. Lord, you know what I'm saying? It was Officer Biden. So we'll go into, you know what I'm saying, with Officer Shawan as well. And you'll see, you understand, there are places where you could burn incense, you understand, light up your candle for statues. This is the same thing with Antiochus. And you have black people, black nuns, so-called black people, Asian nuns, Jamaican nuns, Jamaican, you understand, followers, you understand, Catholics, Asian Catholic, Islanders, you know, Caribbeans, in there burning candles for idols. You understand? The same thing was going on back in the day. Keep on going.
And profaned the Sabbath.
Profaned the Sabbath, man. Understand? Which means they didn't follow the Sabbath. They didn't rest. They didn't give a damn about the Sabbath. They made people work during the Sabbath. Let's say I had a business, instead of shutting down my business for the Sabbath, I make people work. That's what profaning the Sabbath is. All right? Keep on
going. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
There you go. The strange law, something that is strange. Understand? And Antiochus say, well, you know what? He sent messengers and say, you're gonna follow what I say to follow. Meanwhile, listen to this good. We just read with the heathens, with other nations say, yes, Canada one can. We will follow what you say. But the Israel, there was a certain resistance in Israel. You black men, just like you see the 80 take over, you understand, take over, one that slavery, you understand, the war against slavery, it was the same thing that was going on back in the day. Matter of fact, when you go into real history, Asians, Levites, you're going to see like they used the book of Maccabees to have their revolutions. And the Benjamin came to Haiti with the book of Maccabees as well. You understand? This is how we won the revolution. This is how we was like, you know what? We're not gonna fear the so-called oppressor, the so-called Edomite, because they read those stories, man. Everybody following suit, not us. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna fight. Keep on
going. Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice. and drink offerings in the temple,
Go ahead, keep on going.
and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know what I'm saying, we're doing today. You know what I'm saying? Instead of teaching us this, they teach us about Christmas. They teach us about Halloween. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having a brotherhood, good brotherhood, they tell you to shoot one another, kill one another in these rap lyrics, in these rap songs. And the industry is flourishing. Meanwhile, we are decreasing, and our young men are in the jail. And jail is a big business as well. Yet their people don't go to jail. How many Jewish people are in jail?
No,
I mean,
not
this
enough.
is, I never heard nobody say, well, there's a big population of Jewish people in jail.
Kawakar.
Nah, I never heard that. How come they're not in jail? They're one of the biggest criminals on earth. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you are poor. You are destroyed. You know what I'm saying? You've been deprived of your identity, of your history, of your culture. Yet you are the majority in jail. They don't say, well, you know what? Let's have pity on them. Let's have a place where we could bring them back to who they are. They send you to jail. You understand? And why are you in jail? Because you don't follow your laws. You've been following who? Antiochus laws. You've been following the Edomites laws, the way of life. Why did certain things are happening to you? Because you've been following the Edomites way of life. Well, in the I.S.U.P.K on the community general YAHANNA, we teach you to follow God's way of life. We teach you to follow the way of life of the Most High God, the one that created everything on this earth. Tell you to follow. Like this, you could live. Like this, you could be happy. Like this, you could strive. You understand? Thrive. So like a thrive and be married and be wealthy on this earth. But this is not what this empire is teaching. Keep on going. Another question.
Karawakan. Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
Pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Do you know? Like, give me an example of what the Greeks did in the sanctuary, or anybody out there. Give me an example.
Look, they were eating pork.
Okay, I'm right. They were eating pork, but in the temple. Let's get to verse 47. That's where you at? Let's get to verse 47.
Karawakan.
They were eating pork. You're right, Adi. You're right. Edom must been eating pork, right? That's the other white meat. You understand? But let's go see what the Edomites were doing.
Karawakan. Verse 47, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols.
Groves are like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go get the definition of groves, that question. Groves are also like places where they used to smoke weed also. You know what I'm saying? In a space. You know what I'm saying? They used to have places where you could, you know what I'm saying, worship certain deities. Like it's like a hidden place. A good example, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. A good, you know what I'm saying? Certain places, you know what I'm saying? Like you have a hidden place, you know what I'm saying? A small wood, orchid, or group of trees. You have groves, like, you know what I'm saying? Imagine yourself like the witches, you know what I'm saying? Like the story about witches and whatnot. What do? They go in the forest, right?
Oh,
They go in the forest, in a grove, you understand? Like you have the Bohemian Grove. Have you ever heard about it?
Okay, really? I think we call it like Margrove.
Exactly. You
Caribbean.
Exactly. So you had a place where they go in the woods, or it could be something hidden. Something, it means like some place where it's hidden, out of sight. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing their thing. Just like a Freemason place, you know what I'm saying? Freemason temple. It is like a grove. You know what I'm saying? You have like the Bohemian Grove. They call it a grove because it is in the woods. It is hidden in the woods and nobody is seeing it. You know what I'm saying? They have videos, you know what I'm saying? It was Alex Jones that showed what was going on, where all the major top politician goes. You understand? So this is what a grove is. You understand? So they had this in Israel. They had this in other places where, you know what I'm saying, they hide themselves from this population and do what any type of sacrifices, child sacrifices, any type of sexual deviancies or whatnot. They were doing that. Matter of fact, tap Bohemian Groves. Question. Tap Bohemian Grove question, just to see what come up.
So like I also have the.
There you go. This is a good example. Yeah, give me something like this where all of them are. No, not this one. This one, yeah.
I also have the definition from the Bible Dictionary, other one.
Yeah.
Grove from the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, a mistranslation of the Hebrew word Asherah, emblem of the goddess of fertility, symbolized by the trunk of a tree. The reforming kings of Judah destroyed these idolatrous emblems.
You understand? It was like the tree huggers.
Like
the tree huggers, you understand? Like therefore, like imagine witches, you understand? The witches in that sense, like saying this is what you have, like groves, you understand? Like the Bohemian Grove. This is exactly what it's talking about. When they were, you know, doing these things in the forest, you know, hidden from sight and whatnot, altars and whatnot. And in the Bohemian Grove, you have exactly an altar. Right there. Yeah. You have an altar, which is an owl. You understand? This is what was going on during those times as well. Just like you're seeing today, it was going on. You understand? Way back in the days as well. You understand? Fela Gouno, ça passe, Fela Gouno dit bon travail, et là, par la guerre, on t'a vraiment fait partie de famille. Au conseil, vous voulez faire partie de famille, vous pouvez contacter nous sur I.S.U.P.K Haïti, suivre classe pendant 60 jours. 90 days, 90 jours consécutifs. Suivre classe pendant 90 jours consécutifs. Et après ça, on va contacter vous si vous voulez faire partie des familles, ça, si vous voulez vraiment changer la vie. All right?
Hey, Shalom, Adia. Shalom, Barak Yahweh, Shalom, Barakatham.
Hey, Shalom, Marwan, Yahweh, Shalom.
Right.
Hey, Thawada for holding it down in my absence. Where were you guys?
We were setting up. We were finishing First Maccabee chapter 1 verse 47, just to explain what was going on, because we started taking chapter 2, but we wanted to explain what was going on in Israel at that time.
Come, Most High in Christ. So you said First Maccabees 1 and 47.
Come. Can Bible question, please? Can I finish it? Bible question, that verse?
Yeah, no sweat.
Come, let's go to it.
Come. And sacrifice swine's flesh.
The what?
And sacrifice swine's flesh.
You said the Greeks were eating pork, right?
Karawakan.
But this was in the temple. In the temple of God, was God said eating pork is an abomination. A dead pork, you understand? Dead carcass of pork or pig is an abomination. Where the Greeks brought the pork flesh, the pork alive, and sacrificed it in the temple of God. This was your Greek. This is your Greeks of today. But while I'm at it, right? I want to ask a question to anybody that's gonna ask, you know, that's gonna see this class. If the Jewish man is really a Jew, why is there no beef between them and the Greeks after what the Greeks have done?
Right.
Why is there no beef between? I was talking about that, you know, I said to Officer Barakal today. I was like, yo, this came up in my mind today. Like, I was thinking about this. If the Jewish man is really a Jew, why they don't go against the Greeks for doing exactly that in their history? You understand? Why they not doing that? That's a good question I want anybody to answer, even the Jewish man. So, like, I passed the class, and I sent to Officers 1000 Zabaji.
Hey, Shalom, Most High in Christ. Adia, that is a Tawab question, right? Because it makes you think about, does the so-called Ishi, the little hats, do they even understand or read the Apocrypha, right? They're celebrating Hachaanakah, but do they even understand what it means, right? So, Shalaki, let's see, where are we? 47. I'm trying to see where we could jump to. Hold up. So we're gonna read in chapter 2.
Karawakan.
Yeah, we're gonna start in chapter 2. 1 second. Where are we? What's chapter? Come, you can start in chapter 2.
You want me to start at verse 1, please?
Yeah, come, chapter 2, verse 1.
All right. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the son of Jorib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
Right. So this is talking about like we're going through the Greek captivity, right? And there was a brother Matthias, and he had sons, and they were priests, right? And all of this is going to lead up to the day that we're celebrating now. We're in a Memorial Day of the Grecian Wars, right? It's about 8 days long. We're going to be celebrating. As you can see, we have our menorahs lit with the candles, right? Some of these candles, I gotta make sure they get lit back again. Salakia. But we're in these Memorial Days, and we're celebrating brothers who had the courage to fight, right? And that's what Hispanics and Native Americans need right now. A wise man by the name of General Mahayaman said, we do not need prayer warriors. That's what the church gives us. They give us prayer warriors. We need niggas and Hispanics, right? Blacks and Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, who are there to answer the prayers of so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? We need prayers answered, not people who are going to come and pray for us in our time of need. We can do that ourselves. Our God knows what we're going through, right? So we need brothers to answer these prayers, and that's what we're reading right now. You can continue reading.
Come on, please. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 2. And he had 5 sons, Johanan called Caddis, Simon called Tassus. Verse 4. Judas, who was called Maccabeus. Verse 5. Eleazar called Avaron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphas.
You can keep reading to verse 6, Baba Kasha.
Come on, please. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, verse 7, he said, woe is me, wherefore I was born to see this meat.
Throughout audio. So what you just read is a list of all the sons and all of the men that were with Matthias, right? And in this time, like just like what all heathens do, heathens want you to blaspheme your God, right? They want you to turn on your God, and that's what these heathens wanted us to do, right? They've always wanted us to turn on our God. And what was happening in the time of the Grecian captivity was men were turning against the Lord. They were forgetting the covenant that our power made with their forefather Abraham, right? With Jacob and with Isaac, Salakia. That's what was happening. Like you had brothers basically damn near just because. Okay, what you see Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans doing today is nothing new. How you see brothers, like, okay, you could go on the internet right now and you'll see Candace Owen acting like she's a Caucasian woman. She's going to speak all Caucasian points. If you ask her about reparations for slavery, she's going to say she wasn't a slave. She never picked cotton, so no Black person needs reparations, right? She's forgetting who she is, her culture. That's what we did. We took on the culture of the Grecians. Keep reading.
Come on, please. He said, woe, verse 7, he said, woe is me, wherefore I was born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy.
Right. And our people, we were delivered into the hands of our enemies, right? Our holy cities were destroyed. Our temples were destroyed. And that's what you're going to, as we read on, that's what you're going to see is how what we had was destroyed. They carried away all the things out of our temple and ran off with it. Salakia. Adiyar, you could keep reading.
Please. And the sanctuary into the end of the strangers. Verse 8. A temple is become as a man without glory.
Right. So now think about a man who doesn't have glory, right? Just a regular man. Like you see a man with glory. Think about like a brother who has gone through the army, right? Think about Esau's army. A brother who gets glory in Esau's army, he's going to have a bunch of badges, right? He's going to have a bunch of different medals that they honor him with, right? When you think about what our temple looked like, it didn't look like the honor that it deserved, the honor that it's supposed to have, right? Keep reading.
Come on, please. Verse 9. As glorious vessels are carried away into captivity, our infants are slain in the streets, a young man with the sword of the enemy.
Right. So, like this is telling you exactly what happened. Our temple was destroyed, right? They came and robbed us. This is a straight up robbery. It's straight up. So yeah, let me get rid of this for a second. This is a straight up robbery, right? They're going like if you see these menorahs and stuff that I have on this podium decorated right now, right? And our temple, our menorahs and precious things were made all out of our chalices. Like this chalice I have right here, right? It's a gold chalice. In our kingdom, this would have been solid gold, right? I got a lion right here that represents the Lion of Judah. This would have been solid gold. Come on, Adiyar.
Salakia, priest, in that verse also, like that verse that I just read, right? It is powerful. Like, let me read it again. Glorious vessels are carried away. Salakia, I don't know, you know, saying if you was done or you wanted to get into that part.
No, you can read it one more time.
Read it again. Let me just read it again, and if I'm saying if I have to add anything, I'll add it. I don't, please.
No, sir.
If you don't mind. Verse 9. Our glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Our infants are slain in the streets. A young man with the sword of the enemy.
Right, like, okay, so, Adiyar, did you want to break it down?
No, go ahead, please, go ahead.
Come on. Right, our, Salakia, 1 second. Can you read it one more time? I just got to catch up with you. Verse 9.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 9. Our glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Our infants are slain in the streets. A young man with the sword of the enemy.
Listen, this is something that you see right now in your neighborhood. Come on, through water. What you're seeing right now is, or what we're reading is something that you can see in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community right now. Oh. Right? Our glorious vessels are carried away into captivity, right? Look at, okay, this is not just talking about like our chalices, just the things, the menorahs, right? The big shields that we would have in the temple. It's also talking about our young men, right? You can see our young men carried away into captivity right now. It's called jail, right? You see the heathens come into our neighborhood and they just take our young men. A lot of the times, our young men are innocent of the charges, right? Sometimes it's not due to captivity. We're in captivity. This is a horrible captivity that we're in right now, right? Our infants are slain in the streets. Listen, it's not a day in damn near every ghetto Canada, every ghetto USA, from all the islands, the barrios, the reservations. you hear of our infants being slain, our young children, right? You listen, brothers go and they'll have problems with each other and start shooting at each other, and come to find out, a young brother was slain before he could even know what it's like to be a man. Before that brother even hits puberty, he's being slain in the street, picking up a stray bullet. You see it all the time. I remember when I was coming into the truth, I was in the Jane and Finch area, right? And I heard about a young brother who he was charged because he was trying to get revenge for the murder of his brother. His brother was unalive downtown. He was a famous rapper in Toronto. His younger brother decided to go to Jane and Finch and shoot up that neighborhood and slain a young 12-year-old boy of our nation. And this is what happens. It happens all the time in our captivity, right? Adia, you can keep reading.
Come on, priest. Verse 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Verse 11.
Keep reading.
All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she is become bound slave.
Right. So this is talking about Israel in our captivity, right? What nation did it? Like every nation has taken part of our captivity. Every nation has taken part of our Salakia. How do you say it? Of the horror story that's called the life of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Every nation has taken part of it, and we people think it's only the Caucasians, not understanding that during the transatlantic slave trade, you had so-called Hamites who are Africans. They helped out. You had the Arabs help out. You had the so-called Jewish man, the people who have taken our identity right now. They were involved in the transatlantic slave trade. And this is happening all the way from Columbus to now, right? You look at your neighborhoods right now. Who owns all the shops in your neighborhood? These heathens are eating your substance. And then when you see the conversations on the internet about reparations, those same heathens who make thousands of dollars off you in your neighborhoods owning these shops, they'll say, why don't you just go work for it? Well, how can we go work for it if you won't get out of our way? Meaning the shops that are supposed to be in our neighborhoods, we're supposed to own. You go to Chinatown, all those shops are Chinese owned. You go to Bathurst and Lawrence in my city, Toronto, and those are all Jewish shops, right? But if you go to the Black neighborhoods, there's no shops owned by Black people. What we do is we spend money and none of it comes back to us, right? Adiyar, you can keep reading. Or Salaki, you got something?
Salaki, please, if I may, right?
Come.
Also, like people will not believe this, right? Because it is not taught in school as well. But if you do further research as well, for everybody that's not in UPK, I advise you to do further research about the slave trade that happened. Everybody want to say free Palestine. Even I see Black people saying free Palestine. Palestine was involved in the slave trade. Right. Go look this up. Palestine was involved in the slave trade. They had slaves. They were buying slaves. And matter of fact, a lot of male slaves, they used to how you say, you understand, cut off their rod in a proper sense, like in a proper way?
Just the way you said it.
Castrate?
Yeah, castrate.
They used to castrate them. That's what Palestine did to your forefathers. And your foremothers used to be, you understand, sold as prostitutes, treated as prostitutes. That's what the Arabs did to your people. Meanwhile, you love the Arabs today. You consider them, well, you know what? They are millionaires. You understand? They have Arab money. You understand? I got the Arab money, so like it. Well, that's what they did to you. They were involved in your misery. This is what this verse, even back in the days, This is what the Apocrypha is necessary as well for you Christians, because the same misery that we going through as Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian, we've always been through it in our captivity.
Right.
Especially, you understand, when it was, you understand, a captivity under the Edomites. You had captivity under the Babylonian, where, you understand, they were like, well, you know what? Let him go back to their nation and let him build up their temple. You know what I'm saying? Let me use the best of them so I could flourish my empire. But with the Edomites, with the so-called oppressor European, they don't give it them. They use the, you know what I'm saying, the most ignorant of us to make, you know, to profit from us. Meanwhile, they've been destroying us from back in the days, man. So like a priest.
No, that was definitely too long. Like, they've definitely been destroying us for a long time, right? Slovakia, I'm just trying to get back to my precepts. Right, they've been going at us for such a long time,
Right.
that Black people, we're totally destroyed. Right, we are totally beaten down and destroyed because this oppression has worked on us. Right.
Wow.
But there's a time right now in the earth where Blacks, Hispanics are waking up. We're waking up to the crimes. We're waking up, Salakia. We're waking up to our heritage and understanding who we are as a people, right? And no longer are we not going to remember who we are. We're remembering exactly who we are, right? And that's why we're celebrating today, right? That's why we're remembering this memorial today, because we're waking up to who we are, and we understand every nation has participated in our captivity.
Wow.
Right? Salakia. Adiyar, where did you leave off?
I was about to touch verse 12.
Khan, you can read verse 12.
Come on, please. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it.
Right, our sanctuaries were laid to waste. Right, what's a sanctuary? A place of like, it's a safe haven. It's a place of worship for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right, and as we keep reading, Slovakia, we're gonna get more into it. 1 second, let me just see where we are. Hold up. Bear with me one moment. Bear with me one moment, Salakia. So, Kai, Adiyar, you can keep reading.
You have to give me 1 second on one. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 12.
Come on, Barak. The water.
1 second. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it.
Right, so even in our sanctuaries, they were laid waste, and the Gentiles profaned it, meaning they had pork in our sanctuaries, right? They took it over. They made it something disgusting for them, right? Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 13. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer?
Read.
Karawakan. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 14. Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore.
Right, so now you gotta understand, like, what's happening here. What's happening is it's like you have something. Okay, if I could break it to layman's terms so everybody can understand it for today, right? You buy a house. You built this house up. It looks beautiful. You purified it. You did everything you wanted to do to this house. Had a beautiful garden. Some heathen comes through and drives a car into your house. They don't just stop there, right? They dig up your garden. They don't just stop there. They put salt on your soil. They put oil all over your grass, right? They take your big screen TV. They take everything out of that house. And then they do the unthinkable in there, right? You're going to be saddened. You're going to basically be distraught. And Mattathias was so distraught with his men that they teared their garments, right? That's what it means to rent your clothes. It means to tear it. Keep reading.
Khan, verse 15. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice.
Right. So these king's officers, basically, what they were doing was upsetting the people so much that they revolted. Basically, it's like a riot. Whenever you see a riot, is what it means to revolt. They did not want to go with it, right? That's what happens. Look at every time a brother is unalived by the police. Every time a brother is unalived by the police, Black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are extremely upset to the point where we start destroying our own neighborhoods. Like this is how destroyed Black folks are, right? We don't go to our oppressor's neighborhood to destroy that because we're weak. The oppressor comes and unalives a brother in front of 20 brothers, and there is no strength in our hand. So we destroy our own neighborhood, right? Now, I'm not telling no brother to go and riot in the oppressor's neighborhood. But good night. It would be better to do that than to destroy your own stuff, right? A free nation, if you look at all free nations, what do? Free nations go to war with their enemies. Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we go to war within ourselves. We don't even recognize who our enemies is. And listen, you could just thank the Christian church for that, right? If you want to know why the neighborhood is the way it is, thank the Christian church. Adiyar? You're on mute.
So Laki, I got a question for everybody that's listening and that's watching, right? How many Christian preachers or Christian churches that saying, well, Palestine should forgive Israel, Israel should forgive Palestine? How many of them? Laki.
Right. That's definitely a question that needs to be asked, right? The way you're gonna find out is that the Christians and Caucasian people aren't into forgiving, especially the Black Christianity is docile, Hispanic Christianity is docile, right? When you look at a Caucasian Christian is going to go to war. He's gonna go to war with anybody who he deems is violating his nation. Right. When it comes to Black people, we don't have that in us at the moment, right? Because we lost our strength due to this oppression, right? There's a few men who have it now, and that's in the ISUPK. And if you're not in here, it's going to be a very sad thing to see when you look at how Blacks, Hispanics react when they're not inside the ISUPK. Barack, you still with us? Khan, can you read from where Barak carried off? It was
It finished verse 15. It was going on verse 16.
Khan.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 16. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together.
Keep reading.
So, just give me 2 seconds.
Verse 17.
Verse 17. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren.
Right. So listen, what happened is those officers came to the people who were gathered, right? Mattathias was there with his sons, right? And when many of Israel came onto them, right, everyone was together. They went to Mattathias because Mattathias was the prominent man. He was the man with the strength, a man that everyone looks up to. Not like your Jay-Z's, not like your Diddy's, not like whoever Caucasians are telling us to look up to, right? This was a strong brother that was for the Lord. And as you read on, we're going to find out, you're going to see how much basically see how much this brother was for the Lord, right? Keep reading, Baba Kasha. Okay.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 18. Now, therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment.
So they wanted Mattathias to come and do what the king wanted, right? And what the king wants is not what Mattathias wants. What the king wanted in this moment is not what the God of Israel wanted, right? Keep reading.
Like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends.
Right. So they wanted Mattathias to come and sacrifice to the king, right? Which is basically going against the God of Israel, right? And they wanted Mattathias to do it because they viewed him as a ruler, as a strong brother, as someone that the nation would look up to. And they understood that if they could get Mattathias to do it, if they could get Mattathias to sacrifice towards the king and the God that he believed in, they believed the rest of the people would fall in line with him.
So they wanted him to be a sellout.
Right. They wanted him to be like Martin Luther King.
Right.
They wanted him to be like T.D. Jakes. They wanted him to be like what was that? The other reverend politician brother with the perm. And he looks like a skinny. He looks like a skinny brother right now. Like the brother is so old. He's the one who basically said he could grab up.
Al Sharpton.
Right. They wanted him to be an Al Sharpton. Right. And Mattathias, he was greater than your Christian pastor, than your Christian preacher, than your prosperity preacher. Right. Keep reading.
Come. And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
They wanted him to do this, and they were going to basically pay him off, right? Look at listen, I'm just going to say it like this, right? Commanding General YAHANNA never took a bag for nothing because he makes the bag, right? So many of you fake Israelite leaders have taken that bag. You let COINTELPRO come and destroy, well, not exactly destroy, right? Because the I.S.U.P.K is still here. but you let the oppressor come and destroy your zeal. He never destroyed the ISUPK because we are still here under commanding General YAHANNA, the highest ranking man in Israel, right? Those brothers let the oppressor come and destroy their zeal. And that's what these heathens wanted Mattathias to do. They wanted him to bend the knee like every other heathen has done. Keep reading.
Come on, please. Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominions obey him, and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments.
So I can read that one more time. You were breaking up.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments.
Keep reading.
Verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
Right. He's telling you that him and his sons are going to walk in the covenant of his father, right? And who okay, this is a precept in the Bible. And anybody guess which precept it is? Right? Anybody in the chat, Adiyar or Baraki Allah. This is a precept in the Bible. 1 second, I'm gonna get it. But if you have it, you could just say it.
So what I read Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1.
Read it.
1 second,
I can't hear you. You gotta speak a little louder.
just give me 1 second, other one. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
La, that's not it.
Okay.
1 second. I'm gonna get it for you right now.
Oh, 1 second.
Hold up. I'm gonna get it for you right now. Can you get Joshua 24?
Okay.
Right? Get Joshua 24, the 24th verse. Slakia, 24th chapter. I'm gonna find the verse for you right now. Give me one moment. 1 second. One moment. Is Joshua? Where is
it? 24 and 17 out of one?
Which one did you say?
24 verse 17.
Read it. Let's hear it.
For the Lord our God, he it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, and which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went.
Nah, that's not it. Give me one moment. Give me one moment. Adiyar, take over for a quick second. Give me one moment.
Read where you were at. Okay. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. You understand? Because why? Because there's something that people don't understand in this world. Is to be loyal. To be loyal to what you follow. You see, us being Israelite in the UPK, we have orders, and we have, you understand, the orders that we follow is for the rest of our life. Well, you don't find that in the Christian church. Why? Because a Christian might be a Catholic today, a Protestant another day. It might be from that church and that church, you know what I'm saying, another day. Well, you know what I'm saying, like they are just like John, Christ said, like John the Baptist. They are just like a reed shaken by the wind. They're just like a tree, a leaf that is shaken by the wind. You know what I'm saying? Where the wind blows, this is where they go. Where us as Israelite, as Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian, this is our custom, man. Even though
Right.
the rest of the nations, even though everybody LGBT, what does the Bible say? It is an abomination against in front of God. Even though everybody eat porks, it is the other white meat. It is an abomination to our God. Even though you understand to have the best date, priest, and I came out there and I watch him out there. To have the best date, what do you know what I'm saying? What do the men have to buy? Crab and lobster, right? Especially lobster. You buy the biggest lobster, and what happens? She falls in love with you. He bought me some lobster, you know what I'm saying, over a meal. Not over your you understand what you have, what you're producing. You understand? Not over, you understand, you're buying what's in your mind, but over a plate of lobster. She falls in love with you. Meanwhile, lobster is an abomination. You understand what I'm saying? Lobster is an abomination. Those things is like them being dead, and for us to eat, it is an abomination. But we have laws that say, well, you know what, you should not eat the lobster. And these are the law of our fathers, man. This is the law that we must follow, man. There are laws that should not be LGBT. There's laws, matter of fact, there's laws that say that you should not be like Puff Daddy right now. You understand? You understand? P. Diddy
Right.
is molesting and raping everything. You understand? There's a video Akim where you see Puff Daddy going at Justin Bieber and say, why didn't you call me? You know what I'm saying? And you see that while he was a kid, and the kid is like, you know what I'm saying, trying to answer the question, but like, you know what I'm saying, being afraid of the, you know what I'm saying, what he might say. There's law against that. Why? Because you should not, you know what I'm saying, molest anybody. Christ said, you know what I'm saying, who does something to the least of these children, you know what I'm saying, to these young ones, you know what I'm saying, do something to me. And I don't want to say, you know what I'm saying, Justin Bieber is part of Christ's children, but don't go after the children. There's, you know what I'm saying, the Edomite, this is their culture. Since Greece, since the Romans, the African, that is their culture. This is not a culture. You know what I'm saying? This is where you understand that you see that UPK is necessary. This is, you understand, today is the day that you realize the UPK is really following God. Why? Because we say the same thing in First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 20. Us over here in, you understand, myself and us over here in the UPK, we will walk in the covenant of our fathers. You don't see that in the Christian church. You don't see that in the Catholic church. You don't see that in the Muslim mosque. You don't see that in the Jewish temple, in the synagogue of Satan. You're not seeing that. But you're seeing that inside of the UPK under Commanding General YAHANNA. Understand? You want me to go further, priest? Or you got it, Officer Zabadi?
No, I'm back through on audio, right? So, Barack, where were you reading last?
We just read First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 20.
Read 20. Read 20 again.
Karawakan, First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
Right. This is Mattathias speaking to the king's officers, right? Earlier I said there's a precept for this in the Bible, in the Old Testament. You can find it in the book of Joshua if you go to
Salaka, priest.
God.
Is it me and my house we shall follow the Lord?
Right. That is it right there. Right? Joshua 24, verse 15. Brock, can you read it, Baba Kashan?
Karawakan. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Right.
And that's basically what Mattathias was saying. He's telling them something that has been said before. Listen, we are going to serve the Lord. Y'all do what y'all want to do. You listen, you could go on that side with those guys who they served a God who died in the flood, or you can go on this side with some other guys who died. But as for us, we're going to serve the Lord. That's what we're going to do in this house. Right? And that's what Mattathias was saying. Barak Allah, can you keep reading from where you were in Maccabees? First Maccabees, First Maccabees chapter 2, Baba Kasha.
Okay, First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
Keep reading.
Okay, verse 22. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
Read.
Verse 23. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
Right. So basically, Mattathias is telling him, like, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick with our traditions, with our God. We're not listening to you. We're not doing what you want us to do. Right? Instead, this is what happened, right? No, okay, I'm not even going to say it like instead. At the same time as Mattathias saying this, a sellout brother walks up. And this is what always happens. It's like, if you've been to camp, this has happened to you all the time at camp. We'll be teaching. There will be some Jake, some sister listening, right? And some weak brother is going to come up and just try to battle us. He's going to come up and try to fight against what we're saying. More than likely, because what we're saying is cutting him, and he doesn't want to hear it, right? That's what happens. It's easier for him to just give in to the heathens, right? That brother don't want to argue with his rib about a Christmas tree in his house. So he's going to see us talking about Christmas trees and how we don't celebrate Christmas. And he's going to battle us on why he should celebrate Christmas, because the battle he doesn't want to fight is in his house. He doesn't want to battle his rib. In here, we battle our ribs, right? Like, there's no Christmas trees going up in our house. You put a Christmas tree in our house, it's going right out the door. It's getting tossed. And listen, if she don't like it, she could go with the Christmas tree. Lord be with her. Right? That's how we're supposed to act. We're supposed to have a zeal for our Lord. Keep reading.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 24. Which thing when saw Mattathias, he was inflamed with zeal, and his brains trembled. Neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Right, and listen, this is how Mattathias' zeal for the truth, for the God of Israel, was on another level. He's seen that man sacrifice the pork on the altar, and he's slain that man right there. Right? Listen, there's another time you've seen something like this, is when there was a brother in the time of Moses. He took, I believe it was some Moabite, some heathen, into his tent. And one of the brothers took a javelin, and a javelin is a long spike. Like, just imagine like 3 broomsticks together, but at the end, the top end of the broomstick has a spike on it. So you could like spit things. You could spike things, right? You use it to thrust through a man in time of war. This brother took that javelin and thrust it through a man who was sleeping with a heathen. Right? Now just imagine your community had that much zeal for the Lord. There wouldn't be no drugs in your community. Right? There wouldn't be any single mother households, right? There wouldn't be the murder rate in your community that it is now. If we had the zeal that Mattathias had. Keep reading.
Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down.
Keep reading.
Verse 26. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phineas did unto Zambri the son of Salam.
Keep reading.
Verse 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, Salakia, let him follow me.
Mattathias, in layman's term, Mattathias drew a line in the sand, in the dirt, right? He slayed a man. And he did it because he had a zeal for the Most High. He was tired of the oppression. He did not want to do something that was going to go against his father, right? And then with that line in the sand, he said, listen, if you're about the Lord, follow me. Moses did the same thing when he came down from the mountain, right? And all the Haitians became priests. The sons of Levi became priests, right? This is what Mattathias is doing. He's trying to figure out who is for the Lord and who is not. Keep reading.
Verse 28. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
Right. So listen, Mattathias, him and his sons, they decided, listen, we're going to keep it moving out of here. We're not sticking around for these heathens. We're going to move. Right? So that's what he did. Keep reading.
Verse 29. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there.
Oh, listen. So there was a group of people. These are like your today's Christians, right? Your brothers and sisters who say things like the law is done away with, but pay me tithes. And tithes is in the law. Now you gotta ask these Christians, what are you talking about? Right? But there was a people who were weak. They didn't have the strength to fight. So what they did was they went to the wilderness. Instead of following Mattathias into the mountains, they went into the wilderness. Right? Listen, if you put fringes on your shirts, you are in the wilderness. You are not in the mountains with Commander Johnny Yahanna. Commander Johnny Yahanna is in the mountains right now, not in the wilderness, right? And we're going to fight. It doesn't matter if you outnumber us. You need all those numbers to get us. Because you can't take us one-on-one. So Adiyar, they got to get us like 1-on-20. Right? That's the only way they're able to try to fight us. Adiyar, keep reading, Baba Kasha.
Go on, please. Verse 30. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because affliction increased sore upon them.
Read that one more time, Salakia.
Come on. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 30. Both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increase sore upon them.
Right, so they took their things and they went into the wilderness to go, right? And the affliction of what was happening, it increased a lot on them, right? It was basically, it was painful what they were going through, right? Keep reading.
Come on, please. Verse 31. Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness.
Right. Now listen, this is what happens when you have bad leadership. Bad leadership is going to get you in a bad place, right? You, for example, there are people who they learned from Commanding General Yahanna, but instead of sticking with Commanding General Yahanna, they left Commanding General Yahanna and went and started their own groups. You'll see them on the corner and they have no protocols. They line up in a straight line so anybody could just attack them, right? You'll see them doing things like not taking heed to what's going on. Like not too long ago, you seen a Christian group get into a big scrap. They were outnumbered by a bunch of heathens, right? But because it just went really bad for them. That's a long story short of what I'm saying, right? And that's what's happening to these brothers in the wilderness. They're trying to hide in the secret places of the wilderness when they were supposed to follow Mattathias. Keep reading.
Hachaanakah. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 32. They pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
Right. So listen, there was a time when these people who were hiding in the wilderness, because they didn't take heed to what Mattathias was saying and they didn't go follow him, right? They went into the wilderness, and on the Sabbath day, these heathens in a large number, a large force came up against them, right? Now, we're going to keep reading to find out what happened, but this is something that always happens to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? When you don't take heed to wise counsel, you're going to get messed up. And in this situation was a deadly situation for them to get messed up. God, no sweat. Right? Barak, you can continue reading.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 33. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live.
Right. Yeah, you're Tawab whenever you're ready. So this is the Sabbath day. The officers and those people they're telling the brothers and sisters in the wilderness, listen, you didn't follow the king's commandments the first time, but come forth now and do it. Do it now. Show us right now that you're willing to sacrifice for the king, right? Keep reading.
Hachaanakah. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 34. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day.
So they told him, listen, if you come forth and profane the Sabbath, we're going to let you live. And they answered and said, we're not doing it. We're not obeying the king, and we're not profaning the Sabbath day. Right? Keep reading.
Hachaanakah. Verse 35. So then they gave them the battle with all speed.
So listen, the heathens ran into that battle. They said, listen, we're battling you. We're going to unalive you. We're going to impose our will. Right? Keep reading.
Hachaanakah. Verse 36. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid.
Right. They did not answer the battle. Like this is Christianity at its heart, right? They did not want to battle, right? They did not want to fight because in their mind it's the Sabbath day and we can't profane it. Right? So what they're telling you is instead of living for your family and living for the Lord and fighting for the Lord, they rather just perish. All right? Keep reading.
Hachaanakah. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 37. But said, let us die in all our innocency, Heaven and earth will testify for us that you put us to death wrongfully.
Read Salakia, one moment. Was that was 37, right?
Hachaanakah.
Rocket Allah, what are we not allowed to do in the ISUPK?
So like we're not allowed to drop our sword out of them.
Khan, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. What else are we not allowed to do? It pertains to what you just read.
Hachaanakah. We're not allowed to lie out of them.
Khan, that we're not allowed to do that, but that's not the answer, right? Brock, read it one more time.
Hachaanakah. But said, let us die in all our innocency.
Stop
Heaven-
right there, Brock. That is Christian of them. What are we not allowed to do, Barack?
How could I say it? I'm not sure how to say it in English. I don't want.
No, sir. I'll help you out for time's sake. In the ISUPK, we're not allowed to die.
Hachaanakah.
We're not allowed to die. We don't die. We come back and we live for our nation and we continue to fight for our nation. We battle demons and we go and serve our nation. We serve our brothers. Barack, if Salakia, if I die, Barack, how do I serve you?
Salakia?
If I die, Barack, how do I serve you? You're my brother. I'm supposed to serve you. If I give up the ghost today, how do I serve you tomorrow?
Salakia, when you can't, you would not be able to.
So I'm not allowed to do what, Barack?
To die.
Right. That's not what these Christians said. They said, read it again, Barack.
Hachaanakah. But said, let us die in our innocency.
Keep reading.
Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully.
Barack, what was the names of those people who died?
Salakia, one?
What was the names of the people who went into the wilderness and died?
Salakia, I'm not sure. I don't want.
The earth did not testify for them. They died.
Hachaanakah.
They weren't worth the honor. Mattathias and his sons and the brothers that we're going to read about later, they were worth the honor. These people that we're reading about now, they weren't willing to fight. They were the Christian church. The Christian church is not willing to fight drug dealers, so they take the drug dealing money and buy Benzes with it. The Christian church is not willing to fight homosexuality, so all throughout the choir is homosexuals. And then they get mad when Little Nas X is just doing what he's seen Christians do forever. Barack, keep reading, Baba Kasha.
Hachaanakah. Verse 38. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people.
Ooh, that's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. Brothers weren't willing to fight, so they watched their children and wives, their ribs, be unalived. Knowing these heathens and everything we know about the heathens, is more than likely and safe to say that they did not just unalive those sisters and those children. Just because we know what the heathens do. You look at what the Catholic Church does. The Catholic Church is the biggest pedophile ring out. Heathens are disgusting and abusers of women. Right? They're accusing Diddy of abusing women right now. Right? And Diddy's been accused of abusing of very unbrotherly business practices. You ask Diddy where he's learned that from, he's going to tell you he's learned it from an oppressor, a heathen. Right? Keep reading, Barack.
Hachaanakah. Verse 39. Now then Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore.
Right. Mattathias and them, they went up to the mountains where these Christians were supposed to go. Right? I keep saying Christians to let you know, like, they weren't Christians at that time because Christ didn't come yet. But what's comparable to those people who died in the wilderness is the Christians of today who aren't willing to fight. Damn, at least the Christians after slavery had some type of fight in them. Had some type of, we got to do this for our neighborhood. The Christians of yesteryear were, now I'm not going to say they were not cowards, but they had a little bit of fight in them, right? You look at Christians today, it's horrible. Today, Christianity is all about twerking in the church, right? You got brothers in purple and gold in their church. They be dancing up and having a dance-off looking effeminate as effeminate can be. Keep reading, bro.
Khan. Verse 40. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth.
So what Mattathias is saying is, if we don't fight these heathens, right? If we do as our brethren have done, we're going to die. They're going to root us out of the earth, meaning they're going to make sure none of us survive, right? And you can see it. You can see that's what the heathens do even today. They don't want none of us to survive. They don't want our houses to grow, right? They want our neighborhoods destroyed. So they want all our strong men weak. Salakia?
Salakia, if I may.
Khan.
They wanted to exterminate us back then, and still today they want to exterminate us. So this is why there's a lot of experiment on black people that was done in the Caribbean, in South America, in America as well. This is the Togetski experiment. Then you have like the experiment that was done on the native of the tribe of Reuben in Florida as well. All these Johnson experiment that they are doing is to exterminate us, and that was going on way back in the day. And Mattathias knew about that as well. They just wanted to exterminate us. But this is also why, Salak, and this is also why the Bible says, if it wasn't for God, the race of Israel, or the nation of Israel, wouldn't be here no more, because we have a God, that cares about us. And for those that speak, that say, our people that say you don't believe in the Bible, you don't believe in God, well, it is because of God that you are alive today.
Damn right. That is definitely heavy. It's definitely because of God why we're alive today. Right? Salakia. Barak, can you keep reading?
Khan. Verse 41. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against them. Neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places.
So many heathens have learned this the hard way. They see us at camp on the Sabbath day. We're just trying to wake up our brothers and sisters, and along comes some devil, and he wants to come and try to stop the show. And they always learn the hard way. If you cross that line, it's going to go bad for you. Right? If you try to make war with us on the Sabbath day, we're going to go to war with you. And because our protocols our protocols are of the Lord, we haven't lost battles. Right? There's no battles that we lost. Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 42. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 43. Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them.
Right. So people were being persecuted and they fled to Mattathias and joined onto him. Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 44. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor.
Right. There was people who, these men, they were slewing men. Like they were going to war. Mattathias and his men were now going to war against these heathens. Right. Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 45. Then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars.
Right. So they're pulling down the altars that are for this other god. Right. This is what the black community needs right now. Right. We need strong men. And listen, we're here. We're in the I.S.U.P.K. You're just complaining about your neighborhoods getting shot up, but you don't want to join Commanding General YAHANNA. So it's as if you don't care that your neighborhood gets shot up. You only care in the moment. And you don't want to join the solution. Well, the solution is here. It's called I.S.U.P.K. Right? We have a school in Montreal and we have a school in Toronto. Right? If you're tired of your neighborhood's getting shot up, if you're tired of going to funerals, you're tired of losing sons and uncles and fathers and brothers, send those young men at a young, early age to the I.S.U.P.K. Send them to Commanding General YAHANNA. Commanding General YAHANNA is building up black men again. Right? Salakia. Keep reading, Brock.
Verse 46. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly.
Keep reading.
Verse 47. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand.
Keep reading.
Verse 48. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of kings, neither suffered they the sinner to triumph.
Right. So they did not suffer a sinner to triumph, right? They basically, Salakia, they recovered the law. Listen, they went to go get what was theirs. They never left the Lord, right? Salakia. And also they didn't let the heathens win over them. Right? They didn't let any brother who has a weak Christian heart get them to drop their sword.
Right.
Right. Again, these men weren't allowed to die because they had to fight for their nation. If we die, who's going to fight for us? It's not the Christian church, right? That perm head pastor, right? What we say his name was? Adiyar, what was his name again?
Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton. And this is how he's so not important to us. I don't remember his name.
Right.
He's not important, right? I remember Adiyar. I know the name Shar Yuan. I know the name Baraki Allah. I know the name of my camp leader, Natazab. Right? And I know the name of the man who named me, Aban.
Right.
These other names, it didn't matter. Read that one more time, Barak.
Karawakan, 1 Maccabees chapter 2, verse 48. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of kings, neither suffered they the sin of triumph, to triumph.
Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 49. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and wrath of indignation.
Read.
Hachaanakah, verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
Right. So Mattathias he's getting up there in age, right? And it's time for him to give up the ghost. And he's telling his sons, you got to be zealous of the law. Keep the zeal of the Most High, right? And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers, right? That's what we do in here. We sacrifice ourselves for the covenant that our fathers had, right? And he's telling these young men that that's what they need to do now, right? Go and fight for your people and be zealous of it. So we're gonna leave that chapter right there, right? We're coming up on the time. Again, this is Memorial Day. It's gonna go on for the next 8 days. We're gonna keep these candles lit, and as we go into our different classes, I'm going to be breaking down the rest of this story and what the Feast of Dedication is, right? So again, keep those candles lit, keep the menorahs lit in your house, right? And just remember, there was brothers who instead of eating pork, they went to war. Now, your Christians will never read this. They're not going to read this to you because they're in the church eating pork chops. And this is how you know the Christian church is not of the Lord at all. Right? It's totally not of the Lord. Has nothing to do with the Lord. God is not in those buildings. When God sent COVID, sent the virus, sent the plagues, right? Those Christian churches closed their doors, while the ISUPK's doors remained open. Right? So with that said, we're going to call a wrap to this class, right? This is the opening of the Feast of Dedication. We're going to keep going on for the next, I believe, 8 days. Good night. Salaki, one moment. Right, listen, if you want to keep reading, you could just keep reading on in this story, and you'll, in this chapter, you can read on to the second Maccabees, and you will get the rest of the story if you don't want to wait, all right? But for the space of the next 8 days, right, we're going to be celebrating Hachaanakah, right, the Feast of Dedication. When we went to war with the Grecians, we went to war with them and we rededicated our temple, right? In the next class, we're going to talk about 7 brothers who refused to eat pork. And this is such a powerful story. It's a story that it should be taught to all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right? Don't eat that pork. It has worms in it, man. I don't understand why. Like, I was on the internet the other day. I was on Facebook, and I watched brothers start cooking, right? There's a brother, he was cooking. So I'm looking at him, and you could tell by what he's preparing the seasoning. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the seasoning. I see pimento. I see orange juice. I see a little bit of lime juice. I see, what else? I see some garlic that he crushed up. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's making jerk. He's going to be jerking something. And then he put the nastiest meat in the earth on the table, and it was pork. He was not like Mattathias and the men after him, right? He was not like that. He was fully into this pork. Again, that's Christianity. In the ISUPK, we do not eat pork. We keep the law. We don't eat shrimp. We don't eat lobster. They've always wanted us to sacrifice that pork to some god that has nothing to do with us. So once again, we're going to be bringing this class to a close. I'm going to hand a priest and officer 1,000 Zabaja, the water again officer Adiyar for filling in my absence. I'm going to hand the class over to priest and officer 500 Rock Yahala. Clap it up.
This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started on 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're here to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if your brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to your brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10 means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you like. Upcoming holy convocation. We are right now we just did the opening of the Feast of Dedication, which is Hachaanakah, today on Thursday, December 7th, for a span of 8 days. You can read more about it in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 to 61. Right? Reminder to all Akim and Aquatian to check the bulletin board in the hallway of the school if they have a physical location. And if any brother wants to be a trooper in the school to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf, so that's how we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Menavijal Amajem, which means to stand, we'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Menavijal Amajem Shabbat, Amajem, Barak, Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai Rakatam, meaning Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. Bless y'all. Yajem Matah, which means hands down. Sar, which means to turn and face the sisters. If you have any in your presence, we'll give them a courtesy salute as well. Menavijal Amajem Shabbat, Amajem, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Atam Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, meaning Yahweh watch over you watch over y'all in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yajamatah, class dismissed. And don't forget, we have the Lord's 55th annual Passover coming up April 20th, 2024 in Durham, North Carolina. Make sure if you're a descendant of so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American Indian on your father's side to be there. Durham, North Carolina, April 20th, 2024. Go pay your tithes and Passover fee on isupk.com. With that said, Shalom, Israel.
I know exactly what they want. I know exactly what they want. Just be patient. My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me, y'all keep the fame. I want the glory, been that nigga, bitches never ignore.